43 Catholic organizations file lawsuits against the Health and Human Services abortion mandate. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action. Joining me again in studio today is Ron Miller, Associate Dean with Liberty's Helms School of Government. Ron, our friends at Catholic News Agency are reporting that 43 Catholic dioceses and organizations across the country have announced religious liberty lawsuits against the federal government to challenge President Obama's contraception and abortifacient mandate. These are drugs that cause abortions. So this isn't just about birth control. This isn't just about contraception. The announcement was applauded by Cardinal Timothy M. Dolan of New York, who has really become, I think, a hero in my book in defense of religious liberty. This isn't a fight that the Catholics picked. This isn't something that they want to happen, but the President Obama has forced their hand with this gross trampling of our a precious United States Constitution, something that he clearly has a utter disregard for, if not a total disdain. Well, the Catholics are standing up and saying, and they have said, we will not obey and comply with this unjust, unconstitutional law. They're taking Obama and Kathleen Sebelius to court. We support them 100%, and we're looking into other ways to see how we might make our support of them more official, to see if that's something that we can do. As you know, Liberty Counsel is defending Liberty University already in a lawsuit on behalf of Liberty University against President Obama on the larger issue of ObamaCare and the individual mandate. All of this comes together. All of it is an affront to our religious liberties, our freedom of speech, and our overall freedoms.
And we would hope that all of the churches out there would understand the implications of this. I applaud the Catholic Church for not only standing for what they believe, but taking action in order to defend those beliefs, because a threat to religious liberty applies across the board. We're all going to be affected by this. And I want to point out something that I think people don't realize. They're behaving as if this particular issue is something that needs to be dealt with at this time because there is a problem that needs to be solved. The status quo prior to this issue ever being raised was not a problem. Yeah. You didn't hear a bunch of people crying out about access to contraception or about somehow women's health being affected. This is a manufactured issue. Yeah. It is such a manufactured issue, and it's just amazing to me that so many supposedly intelligent people are being led to believe that there's a crisis that never really existed. Now, that being said, I'm sure that some of these people aren't doing it because they actually believe it. They're doing it because there's an agenda in place, and that agenda continues to be to sexualize our culture to an unhealthy degree. Well,
exactly, and beyond that, power. This is not about women's health. The left loves to use these euphemistic terms: women's reproductive health, women's health, to have an abortion on demand, and for us to have to pay for it in violation of our conscience. The bottom line is that this is about the abolition of religious freedom. This is about doing away with religious freedom and the worldview that says no, life is precious. They want us to be able to maybe hold that personal opinion, but in action, there's nothing we can do, nothing we can do as a church, nothing we can do as a religious organization to actually exercise that faith and that conscience and to do what we believe. You can believe whatever you want to believe. They even use a term. If you hear this term thrown around, red flags should go up. Freedom to worship. That's not what the First Amendment guarantees, the freedom to worship. That gives, paints an idea of being the freedom to be in a church with your doors shut and to pray. And as long as you have something, in your mind and you're praying to, as many on the left believe, to some, spiritual deity that doesn't really exist, that's fine. You're harmless. You can go your way and do that. The freedom, it's not freedom to worship. It's freedom of religious expression, the free exercise of religion. It's under attack. The Catholics are fighting back. This is as clear a violation of our United States Constitution as we've ever seen in our lifetimes.
The First Amendment is quite well crafted when you read the entire amendment. Not only is it protecting religion from the dictates of government, it's also protecting the free exercise an expression of that religion, and they put it in the same amendment as freedom of speech, freedom of petition, freedom of assembly. All of those things come together, and Christians do not surrender their rights to petition their government, to assemble together, and to address their concerns to government. They don't relinquish those rights just because they hold a particular faith. Everyone, regardless of whether they hold a particular faith view, is entitled to those rights as citizens of this republic. And people need to understand that and need to stand for those rights.
Well, in recent weeks, Liberty Counsel Action has issued public comment regarding the Department of Health and Human Services mandate, again forcing people against their conscience, religious organizations, Christians, Catholic organizations, forcing them to violate their conscience on these issues of contraception and abortion. And we have said, we have described as bad public policy that which departs from the historic position of Congress. This mandate does this. This is Mandy Campbell, our Director of Public Policy, Liberty Counsel Action, and saying that this is against the will of the American people. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of faith-based institutions the HHS has exhibited here by saying that there's somehow a compromise that can be made here. Well, the only compromises that they have come out with have been illusory, completely illusory. The Obama administration has come out and said, okay, well, we're going to compel insurance companies to pay for this aspect of the policies. This is a Chicago-style shell game here. Hide the ball. The reality is that the burden still falls on the Catholic and Christian organizations, as well as individuals who are being forced to be complicit in abortion, homicide. And I don't think that the Obama administration, if ObamaCare looks like it may be about to go down, this is even more of a constitutional violation than the individual mandate.
And when you look at the court case, recent court cases on religious liberty, they're taking a great risk by having this in the courts. And I think they're hopeful that this thing will get pushed to the point where it won't go to the courts until after the election, because by then I think it will have accomplished what I believe one of its intentions is, and that's to distract from some very serious issues that we have to confront in our nation related to the economy. If you look at all of the things that are going on right now, it looks like they're taking issues which are designed to arouse emotion and passion to the extent that they're throwing things up against the wall, seeing what sticks. And while we're focused on that, and these are important issues, so I don't want to say we shouldn't be focused on them, but the fact is it does distract, and maybe that is what they're doing. They realize it may be a losing effort, but in the end it does accomplish distraction until after the election.
Well, they want to get the focus on social issues because there's this, I think, really a misperception that somehow the American people don't care about the social issues and that they don't want to talk about the social issues. Well, we know, for instance, every time abortion or same-sex marriage or these issues come up, it motivates the conservative base more than so. Really, I think it's a blunder here for the Obama administration to do this. All they're doing is uniting conservatives and Christians behind these transcendent social issues of life and family. And yeah, he may be firing up his radical leftist base a little bit with this stuff, but it is also a lot of people who are libertarian, a lot of people who are on the left, but who actually believe in freedom and our Constitution are troubled by this gross overreach of executive power. It's bordering on a soft tyranny, and I think even people on the left are frightened by this. We've only got about a minute, but
I always tell my liberal friends that beware the power that you give a government with which you agree, because the next government may not be one that you agree with, and they'll still have the power.
Very well said. Very well said. Well, folks, Liberty Counsel, this is what we do. We fight in the courtrooms. We fight in the arenas of public policy and culture in defense of life, in defense of the natural family, in defense of religious liberties, and all of these things cross-pollinate. We see that when the First Amendment is under attack on the issue of abortion, it affects us on issues of life and our individual liberties and our freedom to exercise our sincerely held religious beliefs according to the dictates of our conscience. Those freedoms are under assault, and because of people like you, Because of your generosity, Liberty Counsel is equipped to go into the courtrooms, to go into the legislature, to go into society and our culture and engage on your behalf in defense of your freedoms, in defense of life, and in defense of the natural family. Go to lc.org to find out how you can join up with Liberty Counsel.